The American trend forecaster and the publisher of Trends Journal, Gerald Celente, is not quite happy with the market and business trends which are changing drastically on a daily basis. Celente thinks that economic trends are diverting very fastly, and if people do not band together to know the truth in the world, then humanity will be in a great trouble. Well, what is that Gerald wants all of us to know? And why does he seem to be so concerned about the global economy? We have got it all covered for you in today's video. So without any further ado, let's get straight into it on BBiz. Gerald Celente, who is an American trend forecaster and also a business consultant and an author, has made some shocking yet alarming global predictions for the year 2023. These are very much related to the ongoing situation of the global economy and how countries in the world are dealing with it. Gerald believes that if people really want to change the current situation related to their employment, housing properties, mortgages, etc., then they just cannot rely on hope, but to take a step forward in order to change it. You might be thinking what those concerns are. Let's take a deeper look. According to Gerald Celente, a 40-year-old stock expert who predicted the 1987 market crash and the dot-com bubble burst, markets and the economy face a probable catastrophe in 2023, which could spark a new world war outside the limits of the existing Russia-Ukraine conflict. According to a source, he said that there is going to be a huge market meltdown, signaling that prices have yet to surge, and that implies more misery for markets. The Trends Journal predicted in December that if there is no Santa Claus rally, U.S. equities indexes would not have a happy new year. Stocks suffered the most severe year since the 2008 panic in 2022. What will happen next? How far will it decrease? And who will triumph and who will drop? Gerald says that these questions need to be answered. High financing costs have already had a significant impact on stocks, with the S&P 500 index dropping 20% last year as economic conditions worsened. Officials are expected to keep increasing rates until inflation can be brought under control, with many economists fearing that the central bank could overdo it, triggering an economic downturn and a stock market crash. A collapse like the one Celente is predicting could potentially worsen what he calls a new world war that has already begun. He is one of several Wall Street analysts who believe World War III began last year with Russian takeover of Ukraine, with worries growing that the conflict will spread this year amid global economic chaos. This is what Celente coded in his words, that when they take the interest rates high, the markets collapse. And when this happens and all else seems to fail, then the higher authorities take us to war. Although they haven't gone far enough to predict a new global military conflict, many of the world's largest financial institutions have warned that markets are in for a lot of misery. Stocks are expected to decline 20 to 25% this year, according to Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, and Deutsche Bank. But a more disastrous conclusion would depend on if the Federal Reserve follows through its promise to raise interest rates, which Celente says could be fake. In his statement, Gerald said that he does not believe in a single word the federal government has to say about the current market situation. Celente argues that if interest rates rise, other crises may strike the economy. A debt crisis is one of them, as excessively leveraged people and financial institutions battle with rising lending costs. He also projected that gold will surge to $2,000 to $2,500 this year, making it the greatest bet for investors when turbulence shocks financial markets. Gold was priced at roughly $1,921 per ounce on Thursday. Gerald's point of view on the future collapse of CBDC, central bank digital currencies. Gerald has talked about his global projection towards the economic crisis several times before, a point that he believes will speed the shift towards central bank digital currencies or CBDC. According to Celente, governments will use CBDCs in the wake of a global financial meltdown. as part of correcting the problem created by floating currencies. He also cautioned about the hazards of surveillance associated with the implementation of CBDCs. He further stated that governments will try to come up with a new currency to fill in all the debts. He warned that with the origin of a new digital currency, the governments will have control over every little detail, from where the consumer is spending the money to what they're spending it on. However, what he believes is of more importance is that the governments will take every penny from their people in form of taxes. What is the future of Bitcoin as per Celente's opinion? Gerald Celente further implied that the existence of Bitcoin or BTC could be threatened if governments switch to digital currencies. He pointed out that with the origin of CBDC, governments will try to get rid of all competition, where Bitcoin is thought to be the first target due to government threats. Forecasters said they no longer believed in the future of the first cryptocurrency. In his statement, Celente further talked about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin by giving the reference of China, where cryptocurrency is banned now. His concerns have shown up at the time when Bitcoin is about to gain strength above $21,000 after opening the year in the green zone alongside the broader crypto market. He called the recent price action firm after several weeks of trading below $17,000. Well, other than these issues, there were several other issues, for which Gerald believes that they could be having devastating effects as well as on the global economy. Let's have a look at these. COVID-19 and the office buildings whack, according to Gerald Celente. This has been discussed several times before that COVID-19 did have some lasting effects on the economies. And as per Gerald's opinion, it sure had its everlasting impact on the offices and the people working in them. When the COVID war started back in 2020, which is now becoming something very real, it was seen that the offices and the buildings which were crowded with people working, located in the middle of the cities of the US, with all the hustle and bustle are now empty shells, with not many people working in them. According to Gerald, this was due to the fact that leaders decided to lock the countries down and give the leverage of working from home to people who used to cover long distances before their jobs and work with co-workers are now in a state where they don't want to come to their offices anymore and want to work with the comfort of their home. This will eventually make things worse for the investors and business people who will have to face high interest rates. According to Gerald, this real estate collapse will be worse than any collapse in modern history before. The Middle East downturn. From Celente's perspective, the Ukraine war has acted as an escape from the Middle East's gloomy outlook in 2023. Israel's bombing attacks in Syria continue, and Benjamin Netanyahu's extremist right-wing administration has sent shocks across the country and around the world. Now, the United States is joining forces with Israel to increase economic and diplomatic pressure on Iran. As said by Gerald Celente, if this grows as we outline, the consequences will be both physically and economically catastrophic. Talking of peace and war, as shown by the Ukrainian flags flying across America and the hundreds of billions of dollars in arms and financial aid sent to Ukraine by Washington and NATO to defeat the Russians, hatred of peace and freedom dominates the political and mainstream machines, while both perpetuate hatred and endless war. Climate change and its effects on the global economy, and what does Gerald have to say on it? In his statement, Gerald believes that climate change and the strategies which are adapted to deal with it by different countries will also target the global economy to some extent in 2023. Cities, states, and nations are developing plans for clean energy, windmills, new nuclear power, and other technologies in response to rising energy costs and promises to attain net zero emission levels of greenhouse gases. Despite public outrage over how to reach these aims and the harmful consequences, this tendency is going to increase. The Ukraine war has accelerated and will keep on increasing this process, since restriction on Russian oil will keep energy costs high This is definitely going to have some severe effects on the economies. Well, Gerald Celente has given his opinions on the current global economic scenarios. What do you think about that? Do you also think that the global economy will shut down in the future, or will it get stable just like the old times? Let us know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, press the bell icon and get notified every time we post. That's all for today, folks. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.